Have you ever realized that you've been programmed since childhood to be easy to control? Think about it. From the time you were small, you were told to be polite, to say, "I'm sorry," even when you weren't at fault, to explain yourself when no explanation was necessary. Fast forward to adulthood, and the pattern hasn't changed. Just 3 days ago, I witnessed a man in a cafe spend nearly 20 minutes explaining himself to someone who clearly didn't respect him. He poured out his energy, his words, his dignity, all for an audience that had already decided he wasn't worth listening to. And as I watched him stumble over his justifications, I realized this isn't just his story. This is the story of countless men and women who have been conditioned to believe that their worth depends on the approval of others. Maybe you've lived it yourself. Maybe you've stayed silent while being disrespected, or apologized for something that wasn't your fault, or kept giving chances to people who repeatedly failed you. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to notice the toll it takes: exhaustion, resentment, and the quiet ache of feeling invisible. Here's the hard truth. If you don't break this cycle, 10 years from now you'll still be the same. You'll still be overlooked. Still explaining yourself to people who don't deserve your words. Still carrying the weight of being nice instead of being powerful. But what if I told you it doesn't have to stay this way? What if you could shift everything, your presence, your confidence, your influence so profoundly that nobody could hold you back, break you, or stop you? That's what we're about to uncover. Before we dive into the deeper lessons, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll all be the first to know when I release the next video that could completely shift the way you see yourself and the world around you. What hurts the most, I isn't to just being overlooked. It is realizing that you've been overlooked for so long that it almost feels normal. The quiet disrespect, the subtle dismissals, the way people interrupt you mid-sentence or walk away when you're speaking. The way you give and give, only to be forgotten when it matters most. It's not that you were born timid or invisible. You weren't born lacking confidence. Nobody enters this world apologizing for their existence. That was trained into you, conditioned into you. Slowly, steadily, over years of reinforcement, you were shaped into someone predictable, someone manageable, someone easy to keep under control. Think back. Parents and teachers praised you when you were obedient, not when you were bold. They told you to be agreeable, to avoid conflict, to play nicely even when others didn't play fair. Society reinforced the idea that good people don't set boundaries, don't raise their voices, don't make others uncomfortable. The message was clear. If you want to be accepted, shrink yourself. If you want to be loved, explain yourself. If you want to belong, suppress your true self. And so you did. You became the person who tolerates being disrespected. The one who tries to earn back loyalty instead of demanding it. The one who explains and explains, hoping someone will finally understand. But here is the truth. The more you explain yourself to people who don't respect you, the more you prove to them that you're not worth respecting. This is why you feel drained. Every forced apology chips away at your strength. Every boundary you fail to enforce signals that your standards don't matter. Every time you allow someone to waste your time, you're telling yourself that your own life isn't valuable. And the longer this goes on, the more you convince yourself that this is just who you are. But let me be clear, this is not who you are. This is who you were programmed to be. You've been conditioned to prioritize harmony over self-respect, politeness over power, and being liked over being respected. And this conditioning runs so deep that most people don't even notice it. They just live out their lives apologizing, explaining, managing the feelings of others while neglecting their own. The real tragedy is that this programming blinds you to your potential. Because while you're busy keeping the peace, opportunities are passing you by. While you're trying not to upset anyone, life is moving on without you. And while you're hoping others will finally value you, they're simply learning how easy it is to overlook you. If nothing changes, 10 years from now, you'll still be in the same position, stuck, underestimated, exhausted. But if you're willing to confront this truth now, you can break free. You can reprogram yourself into someone others respect instinctively. Someone who doesn't beg for approval but commands it naturally. Someone who is no longer controlled by external forces but driven by inner strength. The question is simple. Will you keep living as the person society trained you to be? Or will you reclaim the person you were meant to become? To break free from this invisible programming, you need more than motivational quotes or shallow affirmations. You need a blueprint for power that reveals how influence truly works, not the polished version society feeds you, but the raw, unapologetic truth. And centuries ago, one man laid that blueprint bare, Niccolò Machiavelli. Machiavelli is often misunderstood. Some see him as ruthless, even immoral. But what he really did was strip away illusions. He studied people as they are, not as we wish they were. He confronted the raw mechanics of power, respect, and influence. In a world filled with comforting lies about kindness and fairness, he dared to expose the rules that truly govern human behavior. He once wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand." What does that mean? It means people don't measure you by your intentions, your heart, or even your actions alone. They judge you by what they see, your presence, your confidence, your aura. It is your image, how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respond under pressure, that determines the respect you receive. This is why some people walk into a room and immediately command attention, while others remain invisible no matter how good their ideas are. It's not about fairness. It's about perception. Machiavelli knew that power is never handed to the humble, it's seized by those who understand human nature. Think about how this connects to your life. You've been trained to believe that if you're nice, if you work hard, if you explain yourself enough, people will eventually respect you. But Machiavelli would laugh at that illusion. He would remind you that people respect strength, not apologies. They respect presence, not endless explanations. They respect discipline, not desperation. And here's the deeper lesson. Once you understand how power truly works, you can never go back to being naive. Once you see how people really operate, the masks they wear, the manipulations they play, you can no longer be controlled by them. Machiavelli forces you to confront the uncomfortable truth that much of what you were taught about being good is really a strategy to keep you weak. So what does this mean for you? It means the path to becoming unstoppable isn't about rejecting morality or compassion. It is about adding strategy to your strength. It is about learning the lessons of power so you can navigate a world that doesn't reward innocence but respects influence. Machiavelli gives us the foundation to build from. He showed us that men are not driven by ideals but by interests. That respect is not freely given, it's earned, demanded, and maintained. That survival, success, and greatness come not from pleasing everyone, but from mastering yourself and your presence. And if you're ready to step into that reality, then you're ready to learn the dark power lessons that transform an ordinary, overlooked life into one of unstoppable influence. These lessons are not about cruelty, they're about clarity. They are not about manipulation, they're about mastery. And once you embrace them, nobody can hold you back, break you, or stop you. Now that we've pulled back the curtain with Machiavelli, it's time to bring his wisdom into the modern world. These are not abstract theories. They are practical strategies you can apply immediately. I call them the 6 dark power lessons, principles that will turn weakness into strength, invisibility into presence, and dependence into unstoppable independence. Lesson 1. Master yourself, the battle between two selves. Inside you live 2 very different versions of yourself. One is uncertain, apologetic, and desperate for approval. The other is confident, self-assured, and commands respect without begging for it. Every day, with every decision, you feed one and starve the other. When someone disrespects you, your uncertain self wants to explain, to make peace, to smooth things over. But your confident self knows that enforcing boundaries doesn't require explanations. It requires action. The uncertain self says, I don't want to hurt their feelings. The confident self says, I refuse to compromise my standards. Machiavelli warned that he who is not master of himself will always be a servant of others. If you don't take control of your own inner dialogue, others will gladly take control for you. Every time you choose strength over apology, you feed the confident self. Every time you enforce a boundary without debate, you starve the uncertain one. Master yourself, and you will no longer be mastered by anyone else. Lesson 2. Build the fortress mind. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. Anger makes them impulsive. Fear makes them hesitant. Hurt makes them weak. Their minds are like fragile glass, one crack, and the whole thing shatters. Your task is to build something stronger, a fortress mind. A fortress mind doesn't deny emotions, it processes them strategically. Anger becomes a signal that someone crossed a line. Pain becomes evidence of another person's true character. Fear becomes a signpost pointing to growth. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man acts in the present, shaping the future." That is the essence of the fortress mind. You don't waste energy on what you can't control. You focus on what you can shape. When you expect betrayal, setbacks, and challenges, you stop being surprised by them. And when nothing surprises you, nothing can break you. Lesson 3. Silence is respect. The loudest man in the room is usually the weakest. He argues because he's desperate to be taken seriously. He explains because he's uncertain. He fills the air with noise because silence terrifies him. You're going to be different. You'll learn the art of strategic silence. When you stop explaining yourself, people stop questioning you. When you refuse to defend every decision, people start respecting your decisions more. When you speak less, every word you say carries more weight. Machiavelli observed, "The lion does not need to roar to be respected." Your silence creates mystery, and mystery creates influence. Let others guess what you're thinking. Let them wonder what you're planning. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you powerful. Lesson 4. Turn setbacks into weapons. Most men collapse when disappointment hits. They trusted blindly, confused niceness with character, and when betrayal comes, they break. You must do the opposite. Machiavelli understood that people are fickle, self-serving, and changeable. Once you accept this, disappointment loses its sting. Instead of being wounded by betrayal, you study it. You learn the patterns. You recognize who deserves trust and who deserves distance. Every setback is information. It reveals character. It teaches you strategy. It forces you to rely on yourself instead of leaning on others. Wear your disappointments like armor. They don't make you bitter, they make you untouchable. Lesson 5. Control your reputation like a weapon. In the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, they've already formed an opinion of you. That opinion dictates how they treat you, whether they respect you, and how much influence they believe you hold. Most people leave this to chance. You won't. Your reputation is not a reflection, it's a weapon. Control it deliberately. Your presence should communicate confidence before you even speak. Your consistency should make people trust your word without hesitation. Your mystery should keep people curious, always guessing, never assuming they fully know you. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand." People don't know your intentions, they know what they see. So let them see discipline, presence, and composure. Protect your reputation fiercely, because once it's damaged, it's almost impossible to rebuild. Lesson 6. Make discipline your daily ritual. Excellence isn't about big, heroic moments. It's built in the small, invisible decisions you make when no one is watching. Waking up when you don't want to. Keeping promises to yourself even when it's inconvenient. Choosing growth over comfort every single day. Most men choose comfort, and that's why most men remain average. Machiavelli declared, "Fortune favors the disciplined." Your discipline is what separates you from the masses. Discipline transforms weakness into strength, fear into courage, and hesitation into momentum. When you make excellence a daily practice, you stop needing motivation. You become unstoppable because your habits carry you even when your emotions resist you. These are the 6 dark power lessons. Master yourself, build the fortress mind, embrace silence, weaponize setbacks, control your reputation, and live by discipline. They are not temporary fixes. They are permanent transformations. Each lesson builds upon the last until you've forged yourself into someone unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. It's one thing to hear about principles. It's another to see them in action. Ideas become powerful when you realize they've been tested in the fires of history, business, and leadership. The dark power lessons are not just theories. They've shaped empires, built businesses, and forged leaders who refuse to be stopped. Let's bring these lessons to life. Example 1. Steve Jobs and the Fortress Mind. Steve Jobs wasn't loved for being nice. He was respected for being unshakable. He built a fortress mind that refused to bend under criticism, rejection, or doubt. When Apple fired him, most men would have collapsed. He didn't. He turned that setback into fuel. He founded Next, acquired Pixar, and eventually returned to Apple, transforming it into one of the most valuable companies on earth. Jobs didn't let emotions dictate his vision. He didn't waste time defending himself against critics. He let the results silence them. His fortress mind wasn't emotionless, it was emotion-proof. And that's why his name is synonymous with innovation and influence. Example 2. Abraham Lincoln and silence as strategy. Lincoln was a master of silence. In cabinet meetings, he often let rivals argue themselves into exhaustion while he sat in quiet observation. His restraint made people underestimate him at first, but eventually, his silence became his strength. When he spoke, people listened because he didn't waste words. Silence gave Lincoln the advantage of mystery. His opponents could never predict his moves, and his allies grew to trust his composure under pressure. Machiavelli's insight that silence creates intrigue and respect was embodied in Lincoln's leadership during America's most divided era. Example 3. Oprah Winfrey and the control of reputation. Oprah understood that reputation is a weapon. She rose from poverty and trauma, yet she built her public presence deliberately, carefully shaping how people perceived her. She became known not just as a talk show host, but as a cultural force, someone whose words could make or break careers, shift public opinion, and inspire millions. Her reputation wasn't left to chance. She cultivated it, protected it, controlled it. And because of that, when she spoke, the world listened. She proved Machiavelli right. People judge more by the eye, by what they see and feel in your presence, than by any hidden intentions. Example 4. Winston Churchill and turning setbacks into weapons. Churchill spent much of his early career in political exile. He failed repeatedly, was written off as reckless, and mocked as irrelevant. But instead of letting disappointment destroy him, he used it as an education. He studied, he wrote, he refined his strategy. When World War II erupted, Churchill's setbacks became his strength. He knew how to endure, how to rally, how to turn crisis into opportunity. His earlier failures gave him the resilience to lead Britain through its darkest hour. His enemies underestimated him, but his setbacks had sharpened him into an unbreakable strategist. Example 5. Elon Musk and daily discipline. Elon Musk is often portrayed as a visionary, but what sets him apart is his relentless discipline. While critics laughed at his ambitious goals, electric cars, reusable rockets, interplanetary travel, he stayed consistent. His daily habits of extreme focus, long hours, and refusal to quit turned impossible dreams into undeniable realities. Musk embodies Machiavelli's lesson. Fortune favors the disciplined. He doesn't just talk about innovation. He practices it daily in relentless pursuit of excellence. That discipline is why he became one of the most influential entrepreneurs of our time. Each of these figures, Jobs, Lincoln, Oprah, Churchill, Musk, demonstrates a different facet of the dark power lessons. They didn't achieve influence by chance. They mastered themselves. They built fortress minds. They used silence strategically. They turned setbacks into weapons. They controlled their reputations. And they lived by discipline. These aren't tricks. They're transformations. And if history has proven anything, it's that those who live by these lessons cannot be broken, cannot be stopped, and cannot be ignored. We've traveled through the shadows of Machiavelli's wisdom, pulled apart the illusions of society, and uncovered the 6 dark power lessons that separate the unstoppable from the forgotten. Now it's time to bring it all together. Look back at the person you were when this video began, the one who explained, apologized, and begged for understanding. That person has been programmed to be manageable, predictable, and easily controlled. But now you see the truth. You were never lacking confidence, you were conditioned to suppress it. You were never weak, you were trained to act weak. And the moment you choose to break that programming, everything changes. The first step is mastery of yourself. Every choice either feeds your uncertain self or strengthens your confident self. Which will you choose tomorrow? The second step is building the fortress mind, where emotions become information instead of shackles. The third step is silence, the unshakable presence that commands respect without wasted words. The fourth is transforming setbacks into weapons, turning betrayal and disappointment into education. The fifth is controlling your reputation, using perception as a tool rather than a trap. And the final step is daily discipline, the relentless practice of excellence that carries you beyond the reach of mediocrity. This is not a game of appearances. It's a transformation of essence. When you live these lessons, you no longer need to beg for respect. People give it naturally. You no longer fear rejection, because rejection becomes proof of your strength. You no longer collapse under pressure, because pressure only reveals your unshakable core. Nobody can hold you back, break you, or stop you. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become unbreakable. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." True influence begins within. The battlefield is not out there, it's in here. And when you win it, you cannot be defeated. So let this be your affirmation. I am the master of myself. My mind is a fortress. My silence is power. My setbacks are weapons. My reputation is mine to control. My discipline is my strength. I am unstoppable. Don't wait another 10 years, trapped in the same patterns that have drained you for so long. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping someone will finally see your worth. Stop asking for opportunities that you can create yourself. This is your time to rise. This is your time to take everything. If this message spoke to you, don't let it end here. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next awakening video. And leave a comment below. Which lesson struck you the hardest? Which truth did you need to hear today? Your reflections might be the spark that awakens someone else. This is the beginning of your transformation. The world is watching. The choice is yours.